Hey, Pastor Tommy here with the weekly update and sermon teaser. So what shall we talk about this week? How about something good and something challenging? So what's the good thing? Well, the good thing is that the pandemic lockdown is coming to an end. It's slowly opening up. And what that means is I'm starting to see more and more of you at church on Sunday, and it's been awesome. I can't believe it's been over a year since I've actually seen some of your faces, and it's been great to be able to worship without a mask on, if you're vaccinated. All that kind of stuff is really cool, and I couldn't be more happy about that. Now, what's the challenging thing? Well, the challenging thing is that we're coming out of pandemic lockdown. What could be challenging about that? Well, at least for the pastors and for church, we still have to do all the things that we did during pandemic lockdown. In other words, we completely sort of changed the way we do things and what we do and the number of things we do and the skills that we had to employ for the lockdown period. And all those things have to still be done. And on top of that, what's now happening as things are opening up, we have memorial services to do. We have lots and lots of meetings. People who've been wanting to meet with a pastor for a year, maybe. Finally, everyone's coming out of the woodwork at the same time. And that's just become a little bit overwhelming. That's not a complaint. I'm just being honest with you that like suddenly people are coming out and they need to talk to somebody, which is completely understandable. Now, I'm bringing this up because we can use some help. What do I mean by that? You see, as we're ramping back up, deacons and elders and pastors, frankly, at some level, are all at different points in their coming out of COVID journey, right? Some people have immune compromised family members. Some people themselves are immune compromised. And so it's not like you can say, okay, we're coming out. Deacons mobilize, elders mobilize. Everyone is at a different point, and so it makes it difficult to actually get a congruency to care or just some easy way to say, okay, we'll just hand that off to these people or we'll just hand it off to these people. And so because of all that, what Samuel is doing right now is he's working to put together a pastoral care, or member needs team to supplement the work of our elders and deacons. And so, for example, we have some older members who are finally ready to come back to church. They're vaccinated. They've been some of them living alone, almost in a room by themselves. They're ready to come back to church and they need a ride. Other members could use help maybe shopping, or they could use help cleaning up or figuring out how to use Zoom. You know, I don't know if you don't know how to use Zoom by now, I don't know what to tell you, but nonetheless, they exist. And so if you are willing to help with that kind of thing, to help other members like this with sort of in some ways random tasks, but the things that are important to them that need to be done, please shoot Samuel an email. His email is samuel@newhopekent.org, and he would love to sort of coordinate that. And well, let me put this, whether he would love it or not, I don't know. He's willing. So now to this week's sermon. First, let me say something about the sermons generally speaking, especially since we're coming out of COVID, and especially they're now in two different formats. You see, we decided during COVID that the best route for our church, given financial concerns and given quality control concerns and philosophy of ministry concerns, that the best thing to do would be to pre-record the Sunday sermon and provide it for people on YouTube that couldn't come to church, and then we would just do the sermon live on Sunday morning. It's just like sort of having two services. Now, many of you who've been at our church for a long time know that oftentimes, at least when I preach, the sermons are quite different, right? I do all my work during the week, and then I make myself a cheat sheet, and then when I actually get up there, I'm sort of going from this mental Rolodex in my mind. If you don't know what a Rolodex is, look it up on the Google. But nonetheless, sometimes different things come out at different times. So the sermons can be quite different. And add to that, the pre-recorded sermon is just me or Samuel, when he does it, alone, talking to a camera. And so it's hard to really get a real feel like you're interacting with a crowd. And when you get in front of a live audience, there is a lot more interaction. And so the sermon comes out a little differently. Why am I telling you that? Because this Sunday, for example, I pre-recorded the sermon and it was fine. It was information. And I did the sermon in person, And remember, it was our first sermon on race, and I laid out a lot of things, but also because the crowd was there and it was quite interactive, the sermon got a little bit more spicy, right? I added, I was ad-libbing some stuff that I didn't include in the pre-recorded sermon. And the reason I tell you that is simply because you might want to come to church. If you haven't come and you're on the edge, know that you might get a little bit more spicy sermon if you're there in person. Now, if you want to listen to the spicier version, all of our sermons are on audio as well on the website. So with all of that said, last weekend I looked at the end of human history and basically said when all is said and done, if you're a Christian, your eternity will be spent worshiping and working with people from every tribe, tongue, and nation, like people who are not like you. And if you live in Kent, you know what that's like. We have one of the most diverse cities in the United States. So this week, we're going to be looking at the very beginning of human history, the creation of humanity in Genesis chapter 1. Specifically, I'll be talking about the fact that we're created in the image of God and all the implications of that, or at least some of the implications of that. Like, what are some of them? The fact that humans are created in the image of God has implications for race. It has implications for racism. It has implications for issues of life and death. It has implications for things like abortions. It has implications for political policy. It just goes on and on and on and on. It has implications for the way you interact with every person on the planet. So, in other words, it's not that important. JK, it's like infinitely important. So, I would encourage you to come to church on Sunday, to check it out and to hear. And if you can't make it, you can always find it on our YouTube channel, also launching live at 10 a.m. on Sunday mornings. I look forward to seeing you this weekend. Pastor Tommy out.